Alright, this is Twitch.
And so you have to introduce ourselves though.
Yeah, we do. Well, this is Raw Review 220, 2012.
It was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it started out with looks. It seems like a Eve. She did a heel turn,
Pretty dumb. It makes sense. It was alright. I didn't. It was pretty cool though. Like she goes in the middle of the ring 'cause John Cena catches her, saying all that dumb stuff. She said, "Oh, I'm gonna get big fish now, and like she can try for their career." And then she goes out to the ring, and Cena's just like basically bashes her. Pretty funny. The Hosky, that was pretty cool. All the crowd was just chanting Hosky the whole time.
I think it was unnecessary though.
Why?
It was just unnecessary. They're not gonna do anything with Eve anyways.
It made sense though for the storyline. It was just funny. I think it was pretty good, but it wasn't like gold or anything. All right, moving on.
So pretty much after that, they just introduced after that this Smackdown Live tomorrow at Tuesday,
which is good. More live Smackdown is way better than dumb tape one with the chance audio in bumped in there, and then like if you have everything, it's pretty dumb. Like the live Smackdown, it's fine. Like it's perfect, just a good idea, and I think they hyped it up pretty good during the show. Basically, what I was trying to say.
The next we have Sheamus, and they did confirm that Sheamus will be challenging Daniel Bryan for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, and pretty much it was Sheamus versus
Mark Henry.
Yeah, it was just Sheamus versus Mark Henry. It was a pretty short match. It was predictable and everything. Sheamus wins, of course, because he's the one going on to WrestleMania.
Yeah, this is the thing I thought was pretty cool. Mark Henry, he looked really good in shape. Like Mark Henry was like he was good.
Yeah, he looked healthy today.
He looked really good, and then I guess it did make sense. It was just a super clean win. It makes sense though because Mark Henry was a past heavyweight champion, but they could have used this at WrestleMania, like the unstoppable force Mark Henry. Finally, Sheamus is the only hope that could beat him, but whatever.
Oh, well, I guess they're not doing that anymore. Now, one thing that they actually brought back I think they should be bringing back, and they are kind of going towards that direction, is that they're starting again another wars with Raw and SmackDown, and that was pretty cool because competition made better ratings for the shows. So then now that there's competition against SmackDown and Raw, the shows actually would be getting better.
Yeah. I think that's cool too. Is just you have the whole Super Show thing, it just ruins it, and then just in the pay-per-view elimination chamber, you got Jack Swagger and who was on SmackDown. I mean on Raw, and
Justin Gabriel was on SmackDown. Yeah,
Teddy Long, whatever.
It's actually I know I don't like the idea of this Raw Super Show anyways because I like to keep them. I like to keep the shows isolated so then it's better ratings for both of them. It creates competition.
I think the point was for some shows to get better ratings, but. Moving on.
So we had John Laurinaitis on the Raw side and Teddy Long. So then they're gonna be they're picking their own people to be versus each other. Like one person from Raw on John Laurinaitis' side, and then one person on SmackDown. And that match was actually David Otunga versus Ezekiel Jackson, which actually David Otunga won surprisingly.
Yeah, he won him clean. It was I get it. Ezekiel lately hasn't been doing good, but. I don't feel he's Ezekiel Jackson. He came out and then he ended up being the freaking ECW champion. He was the sponsor. He was crazy. Did a face turn, and from there, not so good.
Yeah, they don't really use Ezekiel Jackson that much. I guess that was an excuse for a match they put Ezekiel Jackson in.
I think they were doing something. They're trying to show something about Ezekiel. I guess it's cool that they have him there.
But they had him
to make sense versus Otunga. So
they had him job against Otunga though.
Yeah, you can't have everybody. You can't have everybody go over Otunga. You got to have some sort of push for Otunga.
And another surprising match was the one before that. Actually, was a tag team match. It was R-Truth and Kofi Kingston, who just came after the Rumble and they're hurt and everything, and they're versus Epico and Primo, and they actually won.
I like how they first they're we're hurt, and then the match started jumping around. They're like, whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't like halfway in the match already. Not even like anything. Like we weren't hurt after. They were just whatever they won.
Yeah,
They won the tag team champions.
they didn't. Yeah, it's actually surprising that they actually had them win.
Not really. I mean, it doesn't matter to them, but I think it would have been good for Epico and Primo to win because it's like, whoa, we're the tag team champions. We won these guys from the Nation Chamber. It's just random.
That's true, but then again, they had a winning streak for a long time already after they won their belts.
They're the champs.
Then after we had they introduced another person, another inductee to the Hall of Fame, and it actually makes sense since February is the month of is Black History Month. They had Ron Simmons inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Damn!
Yeah, that's all you had to say about
That's all
it.
you gotta say. Yeah, I didn't know he was the first. Well, according to their history, he was the first African American world heavyweight champion, and that's pretty cool. I didn't really know. I knew the whole APA situation because that's kind of when I grew up.
The acolytes with John Bradshaw.
Yeah, it was Bradshaw. It was. I love JBL. He's just a really good heel. When he was a heel, we just hated him. But then when he was in the APA, he was all about the money. He was Farouk and good for Farouk.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
This is actually a really good inductee.
I would expect him to be later, and I remember not so long ago we had him there, and it's good for Farouk. I'm really happy that they put him in the Hall of Fame. I think he deserves it.
Yep.
He was pretty cool.
It's about damn time.
It's about damn time.
So then after, we had Chris Jericho with the backstage promo. And, it was pretty good, I guess. He's, saying, that he's going to win and stuff. It's about, it's cool because they don't really do backstage promos anymore. Well, they haven't been doing them often. It's like...
I've always liked those old backstage ones. They're just like, yeah, I'm going to trust you, and that's what I think. They're like...
The intense ones, yeah.
They're intense, and those are larger than life, just like with Ultimate Warrior or someone, And I personally think it was okay, having that little backstage thing and just Jericho explaining stuff, putting some more heat, making people think, oh, whatever, man. So it's fine with me.
Yeah, and then after that, we had Undertaker come out with the hood on, and then he's just talking about how, Triple H and stuff, him being a coward, and then, there's one thing that actually, he, says something, it's an apocalypse of an era. That actually, it could be meaning I know they mean that it's they're the last two people, but then again, they have Big
Kane,
Show,
they have Big
yeah.
Show. You could technically even say Cena and all of them. They're all from there.
Maybe not Cena, but Big Show and Kane, yeah, of course.
They have people, man. I mean, but it makes sense, technically.
So then, after a while of talking, Triple H finally comes out, and then after a whole argument, Triple H finally agrees to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So that's another match confirmed for WrestleMania.
Oh, finally they're hyping WrestleMania a little more. It gives them. I mean, they only had 6 weeks, so that's fine. That's fine because now at least they're hyping it now. But they've had this already for 3 weeks, which is fine. I think it's. I don't know. I don't like the fact that it's Triple H versus Undertaker. I get it.
Yeah, I know. I never thought before. I didn't like the fact that it was Undertaker versus Triple H for the third time at WrestleMania. But the one thing that made me change my mind is that it's gonna be a Hell in a Cell match.
And I kind of predicted that it was gonna be a Hell in a Cell. I just had a feeling that, not a feeling that I knew it was gonna happen, but it was kind of those moments where you're like, oh, it would be cool. It's a Hell in a Cell match, man. Mm-hmm. Other than that, pretty cool. I mean, I love The Undertaker. He's by far my number one favorite wrestler of all time. I was always a fan. Everything about him was just epic. I mean, he still could put asses to arenas, just for his one little gimmick, the dead man. People say anybody could pull it off. No, he does it really good. The one
thing that actually is pretty cool, they actually acknowledge that, back then, speaking of the APA, how they actually branched off from the acolytes, which came from the Ministry of Darkness, and in the Ministry of Darkness actually had a little feud with the corporation, which Triple H was in it, So it's kind of
And I
making
don't
it
think
seem.
that ties in that good, but
I know,
we're
but
thinking
it
too
makes
much about
no,
that.
but it makes sense because Triple H is like the COO of like WWE, and he's like in the corporation, and Undertaker's just some Dark Lord, you know?
Hey, you never know. Makes you think, but you think too much. All
Nah.
right.
So then after that, there's a match with Daniel Bryan, the World Heavyweight Champion, versus Santino Marella, and then it was a pretty fast match too. It
Because
was
of the whole Triple H segment, of course. That's what I gotta say. Triple H
probably
hogging
since they were
everything.
hogging all the
Everything
time.
had to be rushed. And I remember the beat before this segment, I was like, ooh, the matches are pretty fast. Maybe they're gonna have a lot of good matches fast, just like the Attitude Era. Ooh,
Yeah. So then they just had a little quick match, and Santino eventually taps out to the bell lock. Yeah. So that was a pretty fast match. It wasn't nothing special at all, pretty much. So then after that, it was some fast Divas action too. Another tag team match. Kelly and Oksana versus the Bella Twins, and the Bella Twins actually won too. Like makes you think because like Oksana was like winning in SmackDown
They
and
didn't even
stuff.
have Kelly go in there.
Yeah,
And
she
they
did.
did Twin Magic Divas match. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So then after that, Cena came back to talk more about like The Rock and stuff. You know?
I don't think they should have had Cena in the first one, anyways. Like they had him the first freaking lighting. Well, they had him in the first segment, and then they have him again. Just to cover like Eve as a whole, and it's like, alright, yeah, and I get it. It wasn't necessary. They could have just basically moved on, be like, alright, Eve, whatever. In the backstage, when he had Cena come out, they could have just had him once, and
But
people
I
would have been
actually,
fine. But
I,
people were actually like, first they were like happy to Cena, and then after like he says all this truthful stuff about The Rock,
he does.
and it's what he means, and it's why the actual feud actually started. Was the whole not here every day, The Rock comes, whatever, movie, blah blah blah. You guys should probably know by now all of the story, and if you watch Raw, you know more now. And I think that I'm pulling for Cena now. I mean, it's making it more believable. They should have done this way before. I mean, they hyped it the very next day after WrestleMania. They should have done it all the time. Make this the match of the freaking century, dude. Like, whatever though.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this promo right here. It actually like made Cena seem more intense and stuff. And the one thing that I kind of forgot is that WrestleMania is gonna be in The Rock's hometown. You know?
Yeah, they're gonna have a lot. I think even though it's The Rock's hometown, you're gonna have people pulling for Cena or booing Cena, of course. I personally want Cena to win. I mean, that's the way it went
That's
with
probably
Hogan
how
and
it's gonna
Rock.
happen, anyways.
10 years later, Hogan and Rock. All right, 10 years later, Cena. The Rock. Technically, you're supposed to. Well, they had the number 2 babyface face Hulk Hogan, so they should have had the number 2 babyface face The Rock. But it's Cena, but it makes sense because I remember before this whole thing, everyone's like, "Oh, I wish The Rock came and told Cena, I hate you." He did that whole thing that first time he came back, and everybody was like on board. Everything was hyped. They should have just went up from there. Shortly after, Momentum was kind of dead, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I wasn't that interested anymore. I'm barely interested now again because I'm trying to trick my mind to think this is gonna be a cool match, and this is what I've always wanted. I love The Rock. I remember I've always wanted him to come back. He never did. And that's the whole storyline. And I've always a Cena fan. I saw him from the beginning to now. I respect him. Whatever.
So yeah, it's WWE has to do something to make it seem like really cool, because then if they don't do anything, the match is gonna seem like nothing. It's just gonna be another repeat. It's gonna be like whatever. Cena wins, Rock's hometown, I guess. Whatever. I don't want that to happen. I want it to be more special. So WWE has to do something to make it seem cool.
I really hope they just go from here. They have so little time now. It seems 6 weeks. It's a pretty good time, but I know that I think they should have hyped this a lot more. At least, come on. You have people booing Cena, and then you don't know who's gonna be the heel or the face. I mean, at least
The Rock seems like the heel at this point for some reason.
well, now he does, but not really because people still pull for him. That's not the way it works. The way it works is you have the person who's being cheered, the face, and the person who's being booed, the heel. And if you have we at least is getting reaction time. I don't like the fact of that. I think that Cena, if he's getting booed, they should just turn him heel. But I'm not necessarily heel. They should just evolve this character. I remember exactly they had him. Okay, this like normal guy, the word life gimmick, which is my favorite. And then once he developed after a JBL, he was like still like word life, but he was like, I'm this young guy. I'm the champ. I'm the stud. Whatever. You have him after the Edge feud. After that Edge feud, close before 2009, they should have just went on with Cena, made him even serious. They should have evolved him because they were evolving him if you think about it. But they should have made him more. They kept him stale, and that's why people don't like him. And it's no surprise. I mean, everybody knows why people don't like him, and it's true.
So yeah, then after that we have the Battle Royal, and it was actually pretty interesting. Though it was another regular Battle Royal, So Great Khali was like the first one out, then followed by the Miz. But then after that, it's like the next eliminations was actually pretty crazy. It's unexpected. WWE Raw's live every Monday, so it's anything's unexpected. So after when Wade, yeah, but like after Wade Barrett got eliminated, then followed by R-Truth,
and then pretty quick.
I know, but
it was just like boom, boom, boom.
I know. Then Ziggler. And then after that, like they just,
right when Ziggler got in there,
yeah, they throw Ziggler, and then I don't know, then you just hear like cussing, and it's like whoa, they bleep it out,
CM Punk was like, ooh. CM Punk's commentary was gold once again. He just throw these little jokes, making Michael Cole sad. He even told him on commentary, like, hey, you said like Kofi Rhodes, and he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so even it seemed pretty crazy because the refs actually throw up the X sign and everything.
Like suck it.
Yeah, but after that, they escort R-Truth out of the way, but R-Truth wasn't that hurt. Ziggler was probably they said that he might have broken his arm, or Wade Barrett too.
I saw his head hit, and his arm was like.
So they
it's funny because right when the battle royal was over, that's when Wade Barrett's like.
Yeah,
and everybody's like, yeah.
Yeah, I know they clapped for Wade Barrett because he actually they were already putting him on the stretcher, but then Wade Barrett's that just made him seem like a really tough man. He gets up and he walks out of the arena.
They didn't really show it, but
they didn't. It was off camera.
And then you have just CM Punk stretches and all like, hey man, so and Jericho's like, Nick. Well, he doesn't do that, but he just doesn't shake his hand.
So yeah,
and then they play CM Punk's music, and then they just show the thing. Oh, Chris Jericho won. It's like. Play CM Punk's music.
So then Chris Jericho versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. So there's actually 4 matches now.
I really don't think that was necessary.
It wasn't,
because if they said, "Oh well, he wasn't really eliminated, so let's have it," but I guess okay, fine, make it really for Mania. Makes sense, I guess. They should have just Punk would have should like, "Oh, you want it? You're gonna Mania, all right."
So yeah, they actually announced 4 matches now. So then there's Rock and Cena. Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus.
Which I hope something happens. I don't know. I don't really look forward to it.
Undertaker versus Triple H in the Hell in a Cell match. And then finally, CM Punk versus Chris Jericho for the WWE Championship. That's 4 matches in WrestleMania announced already, and we have 6 more Raws to go.
But then tomorrow we got a live Smackdown. Maybe we'll hear more, WrestleMania things. Oh, good bit.
So
wait, no, we gotta give the show.
We shouldn't give it a rating. That's only for pay-per-views, I guess.
Well, I think it was. I'm just gonna say it was a good show for what it was. They kind of, they're right after the Elimination Chamber, so they gotta make new stuff. So you could make R-Truth and Kofi hopefully good tag team feud. So you could say, okay, well that's that feud, and then the whole Cody Rhodes Santino thing, which I'm like, kind of want to see Goldust. I hope tomorrow SmackDown something happens with Goldust, but maybe it's not gonna happen. Something will probably happen. And then everything else was cool. The whole Cena thing was alright. Hell in a Cell with Undertaker Triple H. I don't really want it, but I kind of want it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Other than that, it was a good show. It wasn't epic.
It was an agreeable show.
It was pretty good. It was a good show. It wasn't bad at all. I would totally recommend it to people and be like, hey man, check out Raw.
Alright.
Good show.
So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.